Hello, today we're going to be working on some notes about the periodic table. Our focus is going to be on the difference between a period and a group, and you will also learn how to determine how many shells and how many valence electrons a certain element has. So let's begin. We will be going back and forth between a PowerPoint and writing notes into your ISN. If you forgot what page number you should be working on in your ISN, you need to make sure you check echalk. Let's begin. Periods. Each row is called a period. The elements in each period have the same number of shells. For example, period 1 has 2 elements. Being in period 1, each of those elements will have one shell or one ring around the atom. Period 2. All of the elements in period 2 will have 2 shells around the atom. Elements in period 3 will have 3 shells, and so on. There are 7 periods: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These last 2 rows at the bottom are actually parts of rows 6 and 7 that were removed and put at the bottom to make the periodic table more compact. In your ISN, on the page number that you are notified to work on from echalk, we are going to go ahead and begin writing in some notes about periods first. We just learned that periods are the rows that go across, so we're going to draw an example at the top. The example that I have is an example of period 3. The horizontal rows on the periodic table are called periods. There are 7 periods on the periodic table. The elements in a period do not have similar properties. The only way they are similar is that they have the same number of orbitals, shells, or rings. The period number on the left of your periodic table tells you how many rings. For example, sodium has 3 rings. Groups. Each column is called a group. Each element in a group have the same number of electrons in their outer orbital, also known as shells. The electrons in the outer shell are called valence electrons. So, if this is the element in group 1, that means it would have 1 valence electron, 1 electron in its outer ring. If it's in group 2, it would have 2 valence electrons, 2 electrons in the outer ring. And it continues to go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of the elements in group 18 have 8 valence electrons except for helium. Helium has 2 valence electrons. These elements in the center are called transition metals. Transition metals have slightly different rules for shells and valence electrons, and this is something that you will learn about in high school chemistry. So the main thing that you are worried about are these groups here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is the rule of figuring out how many valence electrons atoms have. We are now going to write in notes about groups into our ISN. We're going to first draw an example of a group or a family. The example that I have given is group number 1, which are elements that all have 1 valence electron. The vertical columns on the periodic table are called families or groups. There are 18 families on the periodic table. The elements in a family or group do have similar chemical properties. This is because they have the same number of valence electrons on the outer ring. The number at the top of the group tells how many valence electrons there are. On the next page is where you are going to have a periods versus group practice. Go ahead and set up your notebook to look like this. answer all 8 questions using the periodic table that you have in the back of your ISN, and we will check over this in class. Good job.